This video is part of the Herb Embroidery Stitch Along series by Chrissie Crafts. Other video tutorials are available in the series. Thanks for watching and happy stitching! Okay, now we're going to do the fly stitch. The fly stitch are these little fronds in the background, here and here. I think it's useful to make things like ferns and bracken. It's pretty easy to learn. We're going to put one here. Start off with a straight stitch. You don't always have to start with a straight stitch, but for the effect here I do. So one straight stitch. Then we will come up on the left of that stitch about halfway up and to the left. And we go down to the right parallel to that stitch, right about there. And before we pull that taut, we come up in the center at the base of that first straight stitch. And now, when you pull, you'll see you get a V, like that. And then we make another straight stitch and repeat the steps. So there's the stitch, the straight stitch. And we're going to come up on one side, about halfway up. The other side. Come up in the middle. Now the nice thing with this stitch is, as you can see here, you can just curve it quite easily. So I'll curve it around this way as I go along. This stitch has a lot of variety. You could make the V's bigger. You could do the next stitch out here and get it wider and wider every time, so it does look like a fern. Or you can have them very close together up here. But just as a basic learning stitch, I try to keep them all relatively even. So you could learn this stitch easily, get it secure in your mind, and then you can play around with the stitch lengths and the colors. You do one upside down, you get yourself a nice Christmas tree. Because they go like that. And you do those very close together and getting wider and wider. Whoop, and you have a Christmas tree. But not today. You can see here where I went behind the daisies, I simply just did a straight stitch. Same thing here. I just did a half a stitch and I picked it up again. The other thing you could do is I could have always done that one first and then done the echinacea over it. You can layer over stitches and then they'd show through. But because this is the last stitch I'm doing in this sampler, I'm just leaving the stitches out where they collide with another flower. Such as here. I'm going to put a straight stitch there. I'm only going to put one side here because I'm going to pretend that the other side of that frond is behind that little chamomile leaf petal, chamomile petal. And then I might just put another little stitch here to hint that it's still behind the chamomile. And then I'll go on, let's have another one then. Then I will pick it up again. Fly stitch.